Welcome to the Things That We Like podcast. Welcome to the Things That We Like podcast. This is where I get to talk to you, the listener, about the things that I like, why I like them, why I think you may like them, and maybe from time to time talk to people that like the things that I like too. I'm your host, Ben, and I like things. If you find my voice familiar, you may have heard me on the Nerds Chatting podcast. This is a little side project I'm doing, part of the Nerds Chatting network, along with the Just Chatting podcast. Be sure to go and check out that podcast as well. The link will be in the episode description. You may wonder why I'm doing this and what I'll be talking about. Well, my nerd interests are varied. On the Nerds Chatting podcast, I have to have a love of movies, TV shows, and comic books. Nate, who's the Nerds Chatting podcast showrunner, runs a pretty tight ship, and we try and focus our interest on things that live in our wheelhouse. From Marvel and DC comics and movies to sci-fi staples like Star Wars or fantasy epics like Game of Thrones, that kind of thing. I love talking about those things with Nate and JB. However, I have a passion for many other things, and I recently had a milestone birthday. Let's just say it was the 11th anniversary of my 29th birthday. So I think this could be my midlife crisis. I can't afford a sports car, so I've decided to create my own podcast and share or inflict this with you, even if it's just one or two of you. So, in the coming episodes, I'm going to cover some of the things I can't talk about on the Nerds Chatting podcast, but probably some of the things that I can as well. So I'll cover classic movies like The Godfather, the Rocky movies, horror movies like The Thing, An American Werewolf in London, and Halloween, although I may save that one for October. And films I like that are just their own thing, like Sideways. I'll talk about my love of football, or soccer, and the World Cup that's on right now. In fact, I'm recording this very podcast the evening that England opened their World Cup 2018 with a 2-1 win against Tunisia, with a last-minute winner, no doubt. I also really like reading IMDb movie trivia, and I can often find myself getting into a spiral with it. I could literally start with Airplane and end with Zodiac. As a comic book collector, who only started a few years ago, I enjoy storing comics, or bagging and boarding as it's called, and I've learnt how to do that, and how not to do it as well. I'll discuss the amazing Image Comics label, and some of my favourites like The Walking Dead and Saga. Okay, and Invincible may pop up. I also really like watching YouTube videos. I'm subscribed to some amazing content from channels like Fail Army, Mr. Sunday Movies, Alt Shift X, and Nerdwriter. I also like to keep up with American politics right now, funnily enough, and I enjoy how John Oliver, Seth Meyers, and Stephen Colbert present that world. Where would we be without the internet? I could spend hours on websites like joblo.com, Empire, Comic Book Resources, and of course Wikipedia. I'll get into those soon. I know literally nothing about music, but I know some artists and tracks that I like, and movie and TV soundtracks too, so I may dip my toes into those waters. I'm not much of a gamer, however I like the Grand Theft Auto and Batman Arkham series, and of course FIFA, so that might come up. Of course, I like other podcasts, and they have inspired me to try my own. I enjoy the Weekly Planet pod, where Mr. Sunday Movies and number one party boy Nick Mason talk movies, TV shows and comic books. They are part of the Planet Broadcasting Network, along with other podcasts I enjoy like Do Go On and Human Ordinary. Closer to home, I enjoy listening to friends of ours called Jack and the Geeks Talk and We Have a Hulk pods. Both do movie and TV reviews and are firm internet friends. And of course, there's the Skip to the End podcast. Finally, I'll explore some TV shows like 24, Band of Brothers, and The Sopranos, all of which could lay claim to ushering in the golden age of television we currently find ourselves in. Okay, that's literally it for now. That's just me introducing myself and the things that we like podcast. If you want to get in touch, you can follow me on Twitter at thingswelikepod, or you can email thingswelikepod@outlook.com. Episodes will likely come out once a month. However, following this episode, I will release episode 1, which will be about the Football World Cup and my memories of England. Thank you for listening. You can consider yourself in my good books.